I'm Jake Gibbs. I'm with Professional Choice. I'm sitting here with really a legend, Bob Avila. He's somebody I've been looking forward to talking to for a few days now, and we've got a few minutes here. So, Bob, let's just shake hands and start it off. It's good to see you.
Appreciate you having me here.
Well, I'm really curious, Bob, in how you got interested in horses. Can you tell us for just a second where'd that big interest and passion come from?
Oh, it just takes a second. I was born. I was born into a Western family. My mother showed horses. My dad was a rodeo cowboy. So I really don't know when I learned how to ride. I don't know when I got on my first horse. I just, I've seen pictures of me when I was pretty little, So I was born into a Western family.
Very, very cool. Now, your dad was in the rodeos and such. You went a different avenue. Your love for horses became in the training, in the listening to horses and stuff. Where did that develop, and where did you start branching off into that area there?
Well, my dad was a team roper, and when I was growing up, that's the first thing I did was rope, and I used to hate the rope horses not handling. I mean, they did their job, they were good to rope on and stuff, but you couldn't turn them around, unless you had half the arena to do it in and stuff. And so, I used to go to a lot of the, Salinas and some of the rodeos that had horse shows there and stuff. And I used to watch some of the great old hands, the vaqueros and stuff. And I was fortunate enough to grow up in an area and a time that there was some great horsemen. And I used to watch them, and I just was addicted. I mean, I was addicted. Tony Amaral is the man that I worked for when I was a kid, and he was still known as probably the greatest Hackmore man in the world. And he was very well known and very well deserved the hardest man in the world to work for.
Really? Wear you out a little bit?
Well, yeah, you do that.
How old were you when you first started working for him?
I used to go stay summers with him. I think my first summer was when I was 12, and I went 12, 13, I think 16, and then when I got out of high school, I went to work for him full time.
And I'm guessing pretty early mornings and late nights.
Oh yeah, and that might not have been the hardest part of it, but he'd chew on you pretty good,
Mm-hmm. But you learned a lot.
Yeah, I learned a lot. He was a hard man to learn from. You had to watch him and ask questions, and if he was in a real good mood, he'd answer them, and if he wasn't, you didn't get an answer. So, but it was a passion I had, and it just kept going. I've been known as kind of a lead change fanatic, and that's the one thing he was really bad at. He didn't change leads on horses very good. So when I moved to Oregon, I didn't have an indoor arena, so I used to go ride with a dressage lady during the wintertime because I'd go ride in her indoor arena. And I just got obsessed with changing leads and stuff, so I kind of branched out, and I mean, I've been around the rodeo world, the horse show world, the dressage world. I rode hunter jumpers for a while when I was a kid. My mother, people used to ask her what was my favorite event, and she said the gate opening, because I'd go in any class there was,
Yeah, anything to compete and be on a horse.
And I'm still kind of that way, I mean, I've done a lot of different events. I'm fortunate enough to have, I think, world championships in 5 different events. But I kind of get bored doing the same thing all the time. So that's kind of what I do. I have to keep doing something different all the time.
Wow. Now tell me about the horses, though. I've been sitting here for 2 days. This has been yelling behind me, and I've been watching this bay horse.
You're bored now.
I'm not. You know what? The volume's been down, so I've been trying to figure out what you've been saying, and then the other day I finally turned it up, and I learned more in 2 minutes probably than I have in my whole life, and I've grown up in a rodeo family and stuff. But this knowledge that you've gained in body control and all these things, I know that when people apply those things in the rope in any discipline of horses, it seems that they go so much further. My question, though, is you do everything, and you get bored. What about the horses? Do you use some of the same horses in different avenues, or you just keep them specialized, and does that keep them fresh?
I have both. I have some horses that are specialized horses that just do one thing, and then I have a lot of horses that have done a lot of things. I've had a world champion super horse that did 5 events. The world's greatest horseman horses that I've won on, they do 4 events. So I think it really does keep them fresh. At one time I used to show pleasure horses, and I'd be at a horse show and I'd be turning back and cutting on one of my pleasure horses, and everybody thought I was nuts, and it was kind of fun doing it anyway. But it would keep them fresh. It gives them something else to do, because I know I kind of look at my horses and I try to relate it to how I would think or how people would think. And I think it's very easy to look at a horse and think about what a 5-year-old child's like. A 5-year-old child's, you can only keep them interested in something for so long, and then you've got to do something else because they can only focus so long. And I think horses are a lot the same.
Here we got professional choice. You spent your whole life training horses, learning. I'm guessing learning from trainers as well as horses teaching you things and stuff. But when did you decide professional choice was a great partnership for you, and how has that evolved into what it is today?
I think it's evolved, and I don't think Dal, Monty, Barb, any of us that have been around a long time with professional choice could have ever guessed it would have. Next year will be my 25th year with professional choice.
Wow.
And I think, Dal and I shook hands in 1988 in Reno, Nevada at the Snaffle Bit Fraternity. It was the first year I won the fraternity. And we shook hands, and that's been our contract all this time. And I know that Dal is as proud of that as I am. I mean, that you just can't say that. You can't find a better relationship. And, we've gone together, and I test things for him constantly. And, I'm known for being pretty blunt about things.
That's good, though.
And I'm sure that we test a lot of things nobody ever gets to see because it just didn't work. The things that come out in the market, we take care of first. And Monty laughs all the time when he comes to my place because my saddle pads, we just wear them out. But that's what we do for a living. And
I don't see any better place to get some research and development.
You're right.
Go to the world champ himself,
Yeah.
and it's going to use it every day.
Yeah, and 5 or 6 years ago, I had an idea to start some bits that were affordable for everybody, but I wanted really high quality. I wanted something that was better than the stuff that I saw out there. And so I went to Monty and Dal, and Monty and I laugh about it now. Monty did not want to do it. He did not want to do it. And he came to me about a year ago and he says, I got to admit it. This worked. And I said, well, I got to admit, I didn't think it'd get this big. Mm-hmm. But everything that we have, I test. We've thrown boxes away that did not work, that were not good enough. And, I think that's the one thing that is starting to set us apart, because we do have the personal testing going on and making sure it does work,
Mm-hmm. It kind of helps that you know what you're testing, too.
Yeah. And I've taken... A lot of times I'll have 4 or 5 of one thing come in, and they'll give them to me, and I'll give them to some of my friends to say, hey, see what they're like. Some of the people my peers that I respect. And, so we're very fortunate to have that. But it's been great. It's getting bigger and better, and
it's constantly growing there.
Yeah, and it's really it's fun to do all the time, because we're finding things that we can make them better all the time.
Your bit line, because that's that with the Avila collection, is it's an ongoing process to try to get to perfection.
It is, and I think we have almost 150 different bits in the line now. Whew. But we got to a point a couple years ago that I stopped and I thought to myself, the wheel's round, you can't change it, but we can make it better. And so we're just constantly we're constantly trying to make them better, and we tweak them a little bit here and a little bit there. And it's just some of the new stuff comes out, and I just go, wow. It's so cool, and it's getting so good. You can't believe how good this stuff is,